sure was an incredible Daytona 500 last week. Last to first winner, a lot of big names having some tough days, and a few upstarts making some good runs, all to kickstart the 2025 One-Up Superstar Series season. But that was only one race. We still have 29 more to go until we can crown a champion, and the second race of which is coming up right now, here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, just outside St. Louis. It's a beautiful mile-and-a-quarter track, very technical, very asymmetrical. A lot can go right here, but a lot can go wrong as well, as 42 drivers gear up to take on the second round of the 2025 season. And alongside me to bring you all the action today, once again, is Jacob Crago for today's race. This is a very different challenge from Daytona last week. Last week, you were flat to the floor the entire lap around, just trying to get the right draft. Here, you got multiple lines you can take through every corner. You got to get on the brakes a lot. You got to mash the accelerator, get good acceleration out of the corner to nail the long straightaways here. So with that being said, what's the biggest challenge these guys are going to be facing today?
Well, you said it just a moment ago. This track is asymmetrical. It's egg-shaped. It's basically what Darlington was before it was reconfigured in 1997. To its current configuration. Turns 1 and 2 are tighter than 3 and 4 here at Gateway. So it's going to be a challenge of setting up for which end of the track you want to be more competitive in for these crew chiefs, for these superstar drivers today. Because, do you want to have that, better acceleration out of 1 and 2, but you might have a little bit slower 3 and 4 and vice versa. So it's certainly going to be a challenge to see how these drivers can tackle the different ends of the racetrack. It's a very tight field, so it should be interesting to see who can make the most of all that and whatnot.
And taking a quick look at the points, I know it's only after one race, but every point matters in this fight for the top 15 to make the championship chase. And Emma Kruger, after her big Daytona 500 win, leads the standings over Miles Mashburn, who's only 5 points behind her. Zachary DeLello only 11 points back. The entire top 20 within 29 points of the lead. But keep in mind, a lot of these names actually will shuffle after today's race, because some of them aren't running for the full season, and a few others had a good run at Daytona, might have a bad run here, and vice versa. So keep that in mind as you watch today's race. The points you see on your screen now, they're going to shuffle quite a lot after this race concludes here today, as we can now bring you the full starting lineup for today's 60 laps of action. After finishing runner-up at Daytona last time out, Miles Mashburn gets his season continued on in the right direction with pole position today. And alongside him, Zachary DeLello, a career-best third at Daytona last week. He's looking for even more as he rolls off from second today. Ben McDonald, Nick Ortiz, both had rough outings at Daytona. They're hoping to rebound. And Joshua Michaels, could today be today? He gets that maiden win at last. He starts from fifth. But with that being said, we've got some big names making their first starts of the season after missing out at Daytona. Ryan Griffin, after the big surprise of the Daytona 500 to me, was that he did not get to race in it, but he qualified for this race. He lines up 9th. Cody Goforth making his first start of the season after missing Daytona. He starts 15th. Handful of others scattered throughout the field. And, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Aiden Clare making his superstar debut today, starting 28th, filling in for the injured Echo Evans-Ross. So with that being said, we've got a lot of drivers looking to make an impact, but like you said earlier, there's a lot to manage in this race, and for some, it's going to take all their efforts to do so.
Yeah, and something you touched on with the points about it shuffling, and because of those big names that missed out, they have a chance to also break into that top 20 early on here, since it is only the second race of the season. And tough deal for Echo Evans-Ross for having to sit out for this race. Luckily, from sounds of it, she might only miss like a race, maybe 2 at most. So she isn't going to be hurting as much in the points standings as we continue on here. But yeah, hopefully Aiden can bring that 39 team a good run, keep them in, or at least put them in a position to be right around the top 30 in points or so the way they can, ensure that they are still in the show. And yeah, you see Emma Kruger starting 14th, so she's starting up higher in the field as well. So she could probably make a run and keep the points lead possibly coming out of this. It's all to play for here. I'm excited to find out.
As am I. So with that being said, we've got 42 lined up, ready to take the green flag at Gateway. We are ready to bring you that action now. This is the 1-Up Superstar Series, route number 2 from Gateway, and the green flag getting ready to get this great race underway. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss any of it. Getting set for 60 laps of action here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. It is Miles Mashburn and Zachary DeLello on the front row for today, getting ready to lead us to the restart zone. The green flag is out and in the air, and for 60 laps, the Superstar Series takes on St. Louis, and it's an even start for the first few rows, but I think Miles Mashburn's going to use that inside line to his advantage. He'll lead down in the turn 1.
Yeah, I think Ben McDonald is going to follow him. He's, I think, going to be clear DeLello here as they come across the exit of turn 2. Maybe not. Here comes DeLello back on the outside. The push from Ortiz back behind him in the 91. They're side by side going in turn 3 for the lead.
Yeah, and they're 3 wide for third behind them. So it's going to be Mashburn and DeLello side by side for the lead out of turn 4. Who's going to get the right push out of this corner? Oh, Fitzwater in the wall further back in the pack, but it's Zachary DeLello that leads the first lap, and he becomes the first driver to lead in both races in 2025. Now Nick Ortiz sends one up the inside from 4th on the grid. He wants the lead.
Yeah, I saw Mashburn didn't really get great acceleration off of turn 4. 3 cars in the wall further back.
That's Denoto, that's Gale, and that's Silver Fox further back, but they keep it right in the right direction. They continue on at the back. DeLello now clear of Ortiz, with J.D. Martin now fighting his way up to the front. He's up to 2nd place.
But yeah, as I was saying, Mashburn didn't really get a good run off the corner a lap ago, and that allowed Ortiz to get down in front of him here. But it looks like Ortiz may not have had to drive off turn 2, and that's allowed J.D. Martin to take 2nd, hoping for a better run than he did at Daytona.
And look at this, we've got, speaking of J.D. Martin, we got his teammate Miles Mashburn back in 3rd, and their other teammate, Joshua Michaels, trying to get a move on Nick Ortiz for the 4th position, and he's going to make it stick. We've got all 3 of the Robbers Racing cars up in the top 5.
Oh, look at this, almost 4 wide.
Yeah, look at this hornet's nest back here. These guys, we saw this yesterday, but these guys are putting on an excellent show, keeping it clean, but still giving us some great racing.
Yeah, and now you see 3 wide there. Henry Thomas, I believe that is, going into the inside of Ortiz and Michaels there to try and take 3rd position away. Not able to do it now. You got Davidson right behind him in the FedEx 4 Toyota. I can't quite tell who's that behind Davidson.
That's Ben McDonald in the 12 and Jeffrey Finguy in the 92. So he's trying to rebound after a disastrous Daytona. He currently runs inside the top 10. He was 9th at the line last time by.
Yeah, it has Alaskan Airlines by the looks of things on the hood. Maybe Autos Owners. I'm not entirely sure.
Finguy's carrying the Auto Owners colors this week on the hood of that 92, and he's currently under fire from Cale Tescar Jr. He's had a strong start in this race as we make our way further back. There's Finguy. There's Ryan Griffin. This is his first opportunity to get some racing in this season, and he's putting it to good use. He's trying to fight back into the top 10, and it looks like he's done so.
Yeah, apologies for that. They have similar color schemes, so I wasn't even quite tell. But yeah, good run so far for Ryan Griffin in that 02. Missed the show last week, of course, and he's then this week running right ahead of Emma Kruger, who won the 500 with the 18 of Tescar right behind them. Oh, looks like we have caution on track.
We sure do, and it looks like it's from
77. Roberto Crown Jr., Jeffrey Bolton involved, 31.
And Ryan Caggiano involved as well. We've got at least 3 cars involved, and many of them going to be out of this race. So I don't know how we missed that, but we're under caution for the first time today on lap number 6 for what looks to be at least a 4-car incident on the back straightaway. We're going to look and try and get some replays once we know exactly what happened here, but that was a lot of cars. Yeah, you see Bolton, Crown, and Denoto already out of this race.
Yeah, and you see Monaco, you see Bubba Jones, and 31 all coming down pit road now.
Yeah, that's both of the Jeff
all
Bolton
of them have
cars.
damage.
That's both of the Jeff Bolton racing cars involved in this one there.
Yeah, all of them have damage, probably due to that incident, more than likely.
And you see them pulling into their pits. We'll see. It looks like they're going to try and rejoin the race. It's going to be, we'll see who can do it and who can't. They're all going to try. For Monaco, this is a tough break for him. This was his first start of 2025. He makes it out with some damage repair. He'll rejoin the race. And I think Bobo Jones, Caggiano, hopefully will be able to as well. Bobo Jones, yeah, he leaves his pit box. Ryan Caggiano still sitting there. This is a tough break. Yeah, and Caggiano's out. First start of the season for Ryan Caggiano, and he doesn't even make it past lap 5. So it looks like it starts up here with Bobo Jones in the 58. I think he's going to get a little bit of a hook from Logan Williams, the rookie in the 8 car, and that's going to spin him right in front of traffic, right in front of his teammate, and Ryan Caggiano's got nowhere to go. Oh, he gets launched up in the air by Roberto Crown Jr., and everyone else behind just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and that was a hard impact for the 31. No wonder why they decided to just take that car to the garage.
Probably had some suspension damage at least in that one.
Yeah, suspension damage, maybe a toe link couldn't be repaired. Who knows?
But regardless...
Man, what an impact.
Yeah, regardless...
I'm surprised he was able to drive that thing back around the track.
Yeah, but something must have been wrong, and they could have sensed it. A very tough break for Ryan Caggiano, for Sam Donato, for Jeff Bolton, and for Roberto Crown Jr., all 4 out of this race before it even had a chance to really get started. So you see Caggiano, he was running quite a ways behind the initial contact, but it must have slowed down to try and avoid it, really didn't have anywhere to go, and then he just piled in from behind. Man, that's a big air.
Yeah, he looks like he tried to look low, but Bobo Jones was there. He tried to cut back high, but Bolton didn't really slide back to the inside, and just by the time he got to the scene of the accident, he had nowhere to go and then just get pounded from behind. Tough break for those guys. Hopefully they'll be back next week, and they can find some better position on track to hopefully not have to deal with these incidents again.
That's a tough break, though, for Ryan Caggiano. It really is. First start of the year, and it'll end in heartbreak. But the lights are out on the pace car. We'll be going back green in another half a lap's time. With 38 cars still running in this race, they'll all be on the lead lap. Zachary DeLello leads ahead of J.D. Martin in second. Got Mashburn right behind his teammate in third. Ortiz and Davidson complete the rest of the top 5. I'm very curious to see if these guys are going to go back to their 2 and 3 wide throughout the field on this restart, or if they're going to string it out a little more once the run gets going.
Oh, they are absolutely going to try and run side by side as much as possible. You want to try and get as much position here because Gateway it's the track known for being more of a track position type track, and you kind of need that track position. So I wouldn't be surprised if these guys get started racing here as we come back to the green flag here on coming to lap 10. Green flag is out as DeLello leads him down.
And it looks as though Zayden Davidson, Cody Goforth further back, they're already taking peeks on the rest of the field, sending it off into turn 1. DeLello leads this race ahead of J.D. Martin, Miles Mashburn. I think the 2 teammates are going to, if they can try and get their 3rd teammate up there, they're going to try and work together as much as they can to try and topple this 08 car. And here comes J.D. already on the charge.
Yeah, and you saw the field further back already spread out. As we see J.D. Martin now side by side with DeLello, he's going to try and take the lead coming off the corner. Gets a better drive off. He's going to lead lap 10.
Yeah, first leader of the day that was not Zachary DeLello. So J.D. Martin gets his bonus point for leading a lap here. DeLello's going to try and fight back on the outside, do whatever he can to regain the lead. And it looks like he's successfully pinched J.D. down onto the bottom of the racetrack. That's going to allow Mashburn and Michaels to get a run on the outside.
Yeah, and that really hurt Davidson, too, because he was right behind J.D. Martin. Martin couldn't quite get the drive off the corner, so Davidson had to wait on the 66 or run him over, and he chose not to run him over. And now it's going to allow Michaels to get to the outside of Davidson off turn number 4. Ortiz right behind them. He fell back a few spots on the restart. Looks like you have the 12 right behind Ortiz as well.
Yeah, Ben McDonald started 3rd. He's fallen back into the 7th position currently. Still a solid day, but sure you'd love to get further up the field than that. As the field barrels down the back straightaway, heading down into turn 3. This is the wider of the 2 corners here, the wider of the ends of the racetrack, I should say, as it looks like Joshua Michaels and J.D. Martin, teammates, going side by side for 3rd.
Yeah, and I saw 3 wide further back. Couldn't quite tell who it is. I think it was Teskar because I see him running that high line out there. And looks like Mashburn is going to hold off now. Michaels, by the looks of things, he was able to get around JD Martin, or he's looking to the outside of the 66 now here as he gets around Davidson for the spot. And now he's side by side with Martin going into turn 3 here. Got a core pedal on him.
And honestly,
working that high lane.
Honestly, this is a run. This is a run Nick Ortiz really needed because he finished last in the Daytona 500 after an early crash ended his day. So, and this is only his second race with his team that he brought up to Superstar after so much success in the upper divisions. So, honestly, great run from him to be still in the top 5 at this stage.
Yeah, going from heartbreak to was that Lane Sanders that was in the wall back there?
Could have been. I saw someone in the wall back there, and I think Lane's just not happy with the handling of that car. He struggled with it over the course of the day. He's just hanging out further back. We got a 3-wide situation here between Finguy, Kruger, Patrick Smith, and a few others back there. But now look at this. Joshua Michaels has gotten past Mashburn. He's now taking the charge to DeLello.
Yeah, probably has a slightly better handling car at this stage at the moment. It's tucked in right behind the 08. It's going to be interesting to see if he can dive down low. We see Emma Kruger further back, looking low on, I believe that was
the 12 with McDonald, I think.
Yeah.
But look at Michaels. He's got right onto the back bumper of the 08 Camry, and I think this is going to be a great opportunity because both of these drivers looking for their first career wins on the Superstar Series, and for Joshua Michaels in particular, if he were to win this race today, not only would it be his first in the Superstar Series, he'd make history by being the first driver to win in all 3 of 1UP's main series.
A coveted title indeed. Looks like he was trying to push the 08 of DeLello far enough ahead that he could make the move without possibly losing positions. But unfortunately wasn't able to get the drive off of turn 2 there. He's allowed Mashburn to get right up beside him, or not beside him, right up to him. But it has a better 3 and 4, so I think the 6 is set up more for 3 and 4, while the 08 is more set up for 1 and 2. As we see, Michaels now look to the inside heading into turn 1.
Yeah, Michaels smells blood in the water, and he is ready to go. Down the inside of Zachary DeLello goes Joshua Michaels, and it looks like he's going to try and clear off of turn 2. And DeLello's pulling back alongside the 6. He's not clear yet, but maybe through 3 and 4 he'll get his chance.
Yeah, Michael sends it in deep. DeLello tried to send it in deeper. Didn't quite stick for DeLello. Michaels is going to clear the 08 through 3 and 4. That's going to allow JD Martin now, who takes 3rd from Miles Mashburn, to try and close on DeLello.
So look at this. We got Roberts Racing running 1-3-4 at the moment. So very impressive from the Roberts Racing team. They had a rough outing at Daytona. They're looking to, other than Mashburn, of course, they're looking to rebound with all 3 of their cars, and right now they've put all of them in the top 5. But I think Zachary DeLello's still got a little something left for Joshua Michaels, and if he's got anything left, he's going to need to show it now, because I think once Michaels got the lead, I think he wants to check out.
Yeah, and I know it's only race 2, but as they run, I believe DeLello will get the points lead here over Miles Mashburn. As he came into this race, 3rd in points, he's running 2 spots plus the having the lead lap bonus.
Yeah, so it's never too early to start talking about points at this rate, because you just never know which points will matter in the battle for the playoffs. So you just never know. And speaking of points, Cale Teskar Jr., he needs a lot of them. Brian Griffin needs a lot of them because they're trying to race their way into the top 30 in owners' points. And remember, Griffin missed a race, so he really needs as many points as he can get.
Yeah, as does the 64 of Cody Goforth as well, and that as well. But Griffin's doing a really great job of doing that. He's running just inside the top 10, running 9th, just ahead of Teskar, and right behind the 12 of McDonald. So he's doing a pretty good job so far. He's definitely going to earn a bunch of points. Probably should get the 02 into the top 30. Thanks to some other people who struggled at Daytona, still struggling this week as well. But we'll see how that shakes out once this race is over.
We'll definitely figure that out. It's for sure. As it looks like J.D. Martin's going to try and make a move up the inside of Zachary DeLello for second. Nick Ortiz, we're focused on him for a moment. He's fallen a few positions down to 7th place. Still a strong run for him, but I'm sure he'd like to get some of those spots back if at all possible. But DeLello, he's got a good car today. He's fended off the charge of Martin and Mashburn. The problem he's got, though, is that Joshua Michaels has just blown the doors off him. He's got a really big lead now.
Yeah, it is the largest lead we've seen thus far today, as we are just past the 1/3 mark. Mashburn able to get back around J.D. Martin there for the 3rd spot. It looks like Davidson has held off basically all challengers for that 5th spot as well, as we see looks like the 16 there in 6th. Guys gotten around Ortiz, and looks like Ryan Griffin's making a move on McDonald further back in for the 8th spot.
Yeah, a little bit of contact between Martin and Thomas going into turn 3. Left front to right rear, Thomas to Martin, so I'm curious to see if that is going to have any lasting effect later in this race. I don't think it will, because it was such small contact, but with these cars, you just never know what could be a really big problem.
And thanks to that contact, that's allowed Davidson to try and take 4th away here, and he actually had it there going into turn 1. Martin got able to get alongside, and we saw ahead of them Mashburn was side by side with DeLello, but DeLello was able to get the run off the corner there and is able to hold on to 2nd for now. Now Davidson to the back bumper. Mashburn, as we see Martin and Thomas go side by side for the 5th position.
Yeah, these are some great battles going on further back in the field, but it's all happening behind Joshua Michaels, who is checked out to a 1.7 second lead over Zachary DeLello. Henry Thomas sneaks his way back into the top 5 here over J.D. Martin, who's fallen into the clutches of Nick Ortiz. So the top 7 or so cars have gotten away for the most part. It's pretty much a battle at this point between Mashburn and at the head of the group, back to Ortiz, the last car in line.
Yeah, and of course all this battling is what's helping Joshua Michaels pull away, as we see Davidson and Mashburn battle for the last spot on the podium here. Michaels really needs these guys to battle. Well, maybe he doesn't need these guys to battle. He just pulled out another 2/10 over DeLello. But the more these guys battle, the more Joshua Michaels can pull away, and that's going to really give him an advantage here if we get green flag pit stops.
Which, if we don't get another yellow, should be coming in about perhaps 10 to 15 laps time. So these guys are going to need to think about that as the race progresses. We look back now at Cale Tescar Jr., Christian Vargas further back. I'm sure he was hoping for a better run today than he's getting. And here's Cody Goforth in the 64, the defending champion of the Nitro National Series. This is his first start of the season. Doing a pretty okay job, it's got to be said. Currently hanging out, battling for about 17th place. So I'm sure it's not the run like his teammates experiencing that he would like to have, but still a very solid run for a driver making his first start of the year.
Yeah, and just a few spots ahead of him, Tescar Jr. I noticed a few laps ago, he blocked Vargas, looks like all the way to the pit wall. Gave him like about a lane and a half there, though, so that way Vargas didn't quite hit the wall. I think Tescar's been losing spots slowly since the restart, just has not been able to really hold off many people. Because like I said, we got a caution on the track. I just noticed the caution lights were on.
Yep, we've got a caution on the speedway for the 2nd time. Everybody's starting to slow down behind the pace car. And I think it was James Silverfox in the 9. He's lost a lot of positions in a short amount of time. I think it was him that brought out the caution, as it's going to be feeding time at the zoo. Everybody's coming to pit road, and this will get them to the end of the race.
Yeah, and not what Joshua Michaels wanted to see with as big of a lead as he had.
No, not at all, but this will neutralize the field, and considering as big a lead as he had, he probably is going to win the race off pit road due to the amount of space he had between himself and DeLello, although it's kind of narrowed itself down with the caution coming out. But we'll see what happens. We're going to keep an eye on this pit cycle, because it should be the only one of the day for these leaders.
Yeah, we should be able to get a replay of the incident in a second, as we are looking to see the race off pit road. Right side tire is already on that 6th. Crew looking around to the left side now. Meanwhile, Mashburn and DeLello only just now getting the left side tires on, and Michael's down and away, as is Henry Thomas. Michael's easily going to win the race off pit road. I think Yeah, Thomas got third. Mashburn's gonna lose a couple spots here on pit road, I think.
Yeah, so it's going to be Michaels leading the race off pit road. DeLello second. Whoa, Devin Fair.
Well, where is Devin Fair going?
He's lost a little traction coming out of that on that access road coming out of the pits. That he shouldn't lose too much out of that. Maybe some temperature off the tires a little bit, but unfortunate for Devin. But I think he should be able to regain his place and be able to keep going once again as we make our way through, see where everybody's running after the pit stops. Patrick Smith also in trouble, as is JD Martin, who's making a trip back to pit road.
I'm hearing loose lug nut on that 66 car,
and that's
on
not
the left side.
Yeah, and that's not something to joke about, because these things are very sensitive to that sort of thing, and if you have a problem, you are going to need to address it right away. So we're gonna keep an eye on JD Martin as he makes his pit stop to correct that issue, while we get a replay of what happened to James Silverfox to put us under the yellow. So you see, this is where Silverfox was running kind of at the tail of the field anyway, but I think he might be getting a little bit of help here in a second. Yep, from William Brock in the 93, just put him into the outside wall. I doubt there was any intent behind that. Maybe Silverfox was checking up a little faster than Brock was anticipating. Still not an unfortunate way for Silverfox to get his first start of the season underway.
Yeah, tough break for that Fitzwater Racing team. I'm sure Fitzwater will have a few choice words for William Brock there.
Yeah, we can confirm now for JD Martin it was a problem with one of the wheels, and that has dropped him now from the lead group of this race, where he's been pretty much all day, down to 37th place.
Yeah, tough break for that crew. Just not where he wants to be. That is 2 weeks in a row now where he's had some sort of issue. Last week it was a couple of wrecks that took him out of the running. This week it's a pit stop issue. And like I said earlier, Gateway can be a very much track position track. So I would not expect him to make up very many positions, if at all. I know he has a strong car. He was able to run up front for basically the first half of this race, but now he's basically taking out of contention. Unless like another couple of wrecks happen, I doubt he's going to be back up at front.
Well, we'll see, because he's got a lot of ground to make up, but he's got a good car. We'll find out soon how good a car he actually has, because he's going to need to pass a lot of people in a very short amount of time, because we only have half this race left to go.
Yeah, they will be restarting with exactly or at the halfway mark. So, yeah, you got Michaels, got DeLello, got Thomas, Mashburn, Patrick Smith, fifth off of pit road with JD Martin's issue. So
and he started this race down in 18, so very good run for the 22. And Emma Kruger, who's found her way up further up in the top 10 now, as we get ready for the restart on lap 31.
Yeah, coming down the front straightaway, green flag out. Patrick Smith looks to the inside, as does Davidson. Vargas looks to the outside. And now Davidson dives to the inside of Smith as they go in turn one. Michaels leads Lello to Thomas to Mashburn as they run through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, it looks like the top four are line astern at front, but but behind them, it's going to be a hornet's nest, 3 and 4 wide once again. That's what we love to see at Gateway, all these restarts. Look at that, we're almost 4 wide.
4 wide.
We are 4 wide going into turns 3 and 4. Unlike at Daytona, we're not going to run the risk of having a huge accident. When they do that, we're only going to have the risk of a moderate accident when they do that. So looks as though Devin Fair gonna try. He started this race out back in 20th, and he's now fought his way up to the top 10.
Yeah, and Finn guy did not like what he was seeing at all. He backed down. He's going to lose a bunch of spots here as Davison falls back in line in 6th. I'm Kruger right behind him.
Yeah, but I think
it looks like Henry Thomas was not able to take the spot from DeLello for second.
I think
he's Fair and Ryan Griffin side by side.
Yeah, I think for Finn Guy, though, it's better to lose a few spots now than to have a wrecked race car and not finish the race at all. So, good, wise thing from Finn Guy. He's a defending champion. He knows what he's doing. As Joshua Michaels, actually, come to think of it, the entire about top 5 of this race just posted their fastest laps of the race, with Michaels turning the fastest. That's a point for him.
Well, he was able to pull away in the first half of the race. We know he has the fast cars. We see Henry Thomas again try to make a move on DeLello to the inside here in 3 and 4. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can replicate that. And Thomas, well, he was clear to DeLello exiting the corner, but I think DeLello got the better run. Maybe not. They were about even down the straightaway.
Yeah, but DeLello's going to have
DeLello sends it in.
Yeah, he's going to have the outside line coming through 1 and 2, and that's a really good line to be in if you want to get a run off the corner. But I think Thomas is actually going to clear DeLello off for 2. He slides right up in front, so move Thomas up.
Slams the door practically.
Moves Thomas up to the second position where he can set off after Joshua Michaels, who's led a good chunk of this race and is currently, if he can hang on to win this thing, will be on pace for a maximum point day.
Yeah, and of course you got a maroon and black car versus a maroon and black car now leading the race, just with different sponsors and different teams. As DeLello once again sends it to the outside and try to retake second place. Maybe going to try and pinch Henry Thomas down.
And he does.
So now, that's going to allow Mashburn to get side by side with Thomas for third.
Yeah, so DeLello pinched Thomas down on the bottom of the racetrack to try and give himself second place, and he was successful. Now Mashburn's going to make a move, and so is Patrick Smith. This 22 has come alive in the second half of this race.
Yeah, he saw a gap in between the 72 and the 16 there. It looked like he was going to try and fill it, but thought better of it and whatnot. He's now going to try and keep to the outside right behind Mashburn. As Emma Kruger now on the back bumper of the 16. Davidson just trying to find a way around all these guys get back up as Henry Thomas once again runs very low down on that back straightaway. As you see Chase Chris further back, he moves all the way to the bottom of the racetrack to make a move, I think, of around, couldn't quite tell who that was.
But you know what's, as we look at J.D. Martin, he's fought his way up to 30 if he's only going to gain more spots from there. But what's really entertaining me at this point in the race, we have the entire top 5 from our Daytona 500 running 2nd through 6th today. So I think it's very clear who our early contenders are. But at this point, anything can happen. We still have 28 races to go this season.
And 28 races I am looking forward to as we see the Sanders cars side by side briefly as we work our way back up to the front.
Yeah, DeLello has caught
Michaels.
Yeah, this is gonna. These two, I feel, have the fastest cars today, and I think unless we get another yellow to bunch things up again, it's going to be between these two. One of these drivers is probably going to get their first career win today.
Don't count out Mashburn. He's fallen back a little bit, but with adjustments, he possibly could make his way back up there. So we see Patrick Smith has actually taken 4th, Emma Kruger 5th. Henry Thomas has fallen back a little bit here in these laps. Obviously, the adjustments he made have not helped that race car.
Or maybe he just burnt a lot of his stuff up trying to pass the 08, and then once he got repassed by DeLello, he just didn't have enough to fight him to try and get past. So he's currently stuck back in about 6th place, but he's still having a strong day. This will keep him solidly up in the top 5 in points. But you see Patrick Smith.
Patrick Smith with a mistake going in turn 1. Going in too hot. I think that's going to allow Emma Kruger to try and get around him. Although I think he pinched Kruger down there and is going to be able to hold off Kruger for now as Tom is now side by side with Kruger for the 5th spot.
And look who's right behind them. Ryan Griffin sticking his nose in, trying to make a move. He's up to 7th place. He's past Ortiz, and I think he's going to, if he gets the right run out of the corner, he's going to try and get past Kruger as well.
Yeah, so don't count out that Little Caesars Ford out of a possible top 5 at the end of this thing, as we are quickly approaching the 2/3 mark in this event.
So far, so good for Ryan Griffin. He's a little behind the 8 ball, making his first start of the season, but he's more than making up for it today, running solidly inside the top 10 and maybe on pace for more. As you see Patrick Smith and Henry Thomas, they're battling side by side currently for what will be 4th place.
Yeah, and looks like Patrick Smith is going to get the run off of the corner. I guess the Highline is a better line to be in off these corners. I was expecting it to be the inside lane personally. I guess not, as we see Ryan Griffin now make a move to the inside of Kruger there for the 6th position.
Yeah, but Kruger
pinched he's going to be able to do it.
Kruger pinched him off the corner, and that's going to give up all his momentum. Now Ortiz back alongside him for 7th place.
Yeah, and crucially, Ortiz on the outside. That's going to allow him to possibly get back around and clear Griffin for that 7th position and maybe open the door for Davidson to maybe take a look to the outside as well.
And meanwhile,
Michaels pulled away from DeLello.
Yeah, Michaels is checked out again. I think he's got a really good long run car, and we're getting a good solid number of those. But meanwhile, someone who's not having as good a day is Ben McDonald. He started this race in third. He's now fallen all the way back to about 13th place.
Yeah, still could be worse. Could be like J.D. Martin with a issue on pit road. It could be like Rotocron Jr., who out early due to a crash.
Yeah, well, Ben I know is a competitive guy, and he wants to finish as high as he can. It's just may not be his day today, but I'm sure he'll rebound just as strongly at Richmond next week.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's just an off day. It's just an off day.
And here's something amusing to look at. We've got all 4 Revolution racing cars running in a line together, 9th through 12th. Zayden Davidson, Cale Teskar Jr., Devin Fair, and Christian Vargas taking the high line. We've got all 4 of them in a group together. Hopefully, I'm sure they want to run a little further up the field than this, but I think so far they're having a solid day.
They're probably just practicing for a little bit of total team control later on. They're just not in the right positions to do so. As do we have another caution on track, or are they just running slow off that corner?
I think it was DeLello checking up out of the corner, but I think we're okay for the moment as Michaels continues.
No, caution lights are on. Caution lights are on.
Oh, nice catch on that. So we're gonna make a run around here. And yep, there they are. The caution lights are on. We're going to get a caution. And I think it might be James Silverfox for the second time today getting involved in an accident.
We'll have to take a look and see, as not what DeLello or Michaels wanted to see. They had checked out to over a 2-second lead over Mashburn. So, well, we were just talking about Silverfox having issues.
Well, we're going to re-rack them and do this all over again for the final quarter of this race. And I think this is going to be an electrifying finish between Michaels, between DeLello, Mashburn, and who knows how many others. Patrick Smith has a really good car. Maybe he'll have a good run at the end of this race. But we'll get you a replay in a moment of what happened to this 9 car. Put us under caution for the 3rd time today, as it looks like he's going to get caught up to the rest of the field here. But I think it is the 9 that was involved in this, because he was well off pace that previous lap. Not the start to the season I'm sure he wanted, but at least he's in the field this time. But we'll get you a replay.
And he's still on track.
Yeah, we'll get you a replay in a few moments, though, of what happened. So coming out of turn 4, he was at the back again anyway, and he's got another Genesis Engineering car behind him. Is this the exact same story as before? Oh, yeah, it is. This time it's William Brock's teammate, Daniel Bouchard, getting into the back of the 9.
What about Genesis Racing that they just hate Silverfox? What did he do to them?
I doubt there's malicious intent behind it, but you gotta wonder, as someone watching this, the Genesis team, I'm sure there's no, it's not. I doubt it's intentional, but when it happens twice in the same race, you gotta wonder.
I mean, I'm saying it for laughs mainly because it's just bizarre that it. If I had a nickel for every time a Genesis racing car spun out with Silverfox in this race, I'd have 2 nickels. But it isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
So we're going to have one more lap here, and then we're going to get back racing again. We're going to have Joshua Michaels in the lead of this race, Zachary DeLello second. These guys have had rocket ships today, but I'm curious to see if Miles Mashburn or Patrick Smith or who knows who else is might have a chance here late in the going.
Yeah, and unlike the first couple of cautions where it was just like a couple laps before the yellows was flown or everybody pitted and got fresh tires, these tires have had a bit of a heat cycle because that was a decent length run there. We had about 15 laps on these tires, so it'll be interesting to see if anybody was saving anything and if they can make a one last epic push towards the front of the field.
Oh, something's amiss with Michaels! Something's amiss with Michaels, who's leading the race, and now he's coming to pit road, coming to the green.
Oh no! Heartbreak for the 6 team.
Again, not again for Joshua Michaels. He's been dominating this race. He's led 30 laps today, and now he's definitely going to be out of contention and maybe out of the race altogether.
Yeah, and he's going to be coming down with the pace car. He's going to go a lap down here, possibly, as Lello is now going to lead the field to green with Mashburn second, Patrick Smith third.
A huge upset in this race, a huge story It's Joshua Michaels, who dominated this race. He's now on pit road as the rest of the field barrels off down to turn 1. Zachary DeLello leads, but for Joshua Michaels, heartbreak once again as he pulls it down pit road. Gonna see what happens here for Joshua Michaels. They're gonna look at the car, and he's done! Michaels is out of the race now!
What in the... Oh, looks like a tire might have shredded something underneath the car.
Oh, you just said it, didn't you? This was the first time we would have had a restart on used tires, and I think for Michaels, he just burned them up too much trying to build as big a lead. Something blue wrapped around the housing of the car. Now he's out of the race.
Yeah, and DeLello now leads, Mashburn second, Smith third. That's your podium as they run right now. Then you have Henry Thompson fourth, Ortiz in fifth. Looks like Emma Kruger's lost a lot of spots. Well, maybe just a couple spots, but
a huge development in this race, coming to 11 laps to go. The guy who dominated this race, led 30 laps of it, Joshua Michaels, was looking to become the first driver to win in all 3 series and get his maiden superstar win after so many heartbreaks. Well, another one's come up today to deny him that happening today.
Yeah, if he has another strong week, or next time out, that opportunity to be the first driver to win in all 3 series will have to wait at least another week. Heartbreak for that entire team. Now Mashburn is out on a mission to try and maybe avenge his teammates' struggles today, because you got to remember, Patrick Smith, he had that pit road issue at the midway caution, and now Joshua Michaels out with that tire issue. So Mashburn now trying to go ahead and try and take a win from pole, but he's got to get around DeLello to do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. DeLello's had a really fast car today, but we haven't seen what Mashburn can do when a fight for the lead, because he hasn't really fought for the lead since the very beginning of this race with that 08 car.
Yeah, as we're coming to 9 to go this time by, as well as Patrick Smith and Ortiz battling for the podium further back. See, Ryan Griffin's actually moved up into the top 5. He's gotten around Henry Thomas, as we see the Revolution cars battling side by side behind them for 7th.
Yeah, Cale Tescar Jr. has fought his way up to 8th. Strong run for the 18 after a bit of a middle-of-the-road day at Daytona. But Ryan Griffin, this is going to be a really big day for him in the points. Even if he doesn't win this race, he's got 38 points currently, and that will surely get him pretty far up the order. As here's Julio Cesar. We haven't talked about him all day. He started this race all the way back in 29th. He's now fought his way to the top 10.
Yeah, and good day for Julio Cesar. Also had struggles after getting caught up in a couple of incidents at Daytona. Strong run for that Sanders Performance Autosport Dodge. So we take a look at Aiden here, filling in for Echo Evans Russ, following a hellacious hit at Daytona.
Yeah, and he's actually doing pretty solidly. He's running 20th, which I know he led practice, but all things considered, this is a pretty strong run for a guy making his first start in the series in these cars, doing that team good today.
Yeah, for a fill-in, for being just a temporary fill-in, not too shabby. So we see DeLello's pulled just ever so slightly out of a lead ahead of Mashburn, but they are pulling away from the rest of the field already, 2.5 ahead, just about.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle between these two unless we get another yellow to spice things up at the end, but we're coming to 6 laps to go. We're going to get to a point soon for another caution at this point.
Ooh, Mashburn overdrove the corner there.
Yeah, he sure did. That's going to cost him a lot of time to DeLello, but back to what I was saying earlier, we're going to get to a point soon where a caution at that stage would end the race. We wouldn't have enough laps to get back going. So we're now at 6 to go. DeLello just needs to hope to all that is good that we get to that point in the race.
I believe we're only a couple laps away from that point of no return, as Patrick Smith's able to hold off Ortiz for 3rd. That's going to allow Ryan Griffin closing on the 91 as we see the 16 and 4 go side by side for that 7th position. Sorry. No. Wait. Henry Thomas has lost a couple spots there.
Yeah, that is for 6th, and yeah, he's going to lose out to both Ryan Griffin and Zayden Davidson in the space of 1 lap. We've got 5 to go.
And maybe even Kruger as well.
Yeah, this 16's bleeding spots, and he needs to stop that bleeding pretty badly, because we're getting to the point now where another yellow flag will signal the end of this race, and for Zachary DeLello, the end of this race cannot come soon enough.
Yeah, Mashburn overdrove turns 1 and 2 again. I think he's just trying to throw it in as deep as he can, but it's just not sticking with as old as these tires are.
And for Zachary DeLello, you got to be thinking that the nerves are starting to set in. He's never been in this position before in a superstar car. He's won a Nitro Championship, of course, back in 2023. He's won a bunch of races down there, but this is a whole new level of stress coming his way as we're about 3.5 laps from home.
Well, he's holding them back at the moment. He's running pretty smoothly. See Davidson and Thomas running really down as here comes Julio Cesar, even lower on the track, practically.
Yeah, these guys are fighting for every position they can get in this race because the laps are running out. We just took 3 laps to go in this race. There we go, 3 to go. And Devin Fair, Julio Cesar, they're fighting for 9th. Ben McDonald trying to get back in the top 10.
Yeah, McDonald was running in the top 10 earlier, fell out of it. I think he's picked up a couple of spots since the restart, just hasn't been able to re-crack the top 10. So take a look at the low, coming to 2 laps to go. Very strong run. Hasn't led all the laps, I don't believe, but...
No, Michael's led 30 of them, but DeLello's doing a really strong job today. And we're coming to 2 laps to go. Mashburn's challenge starting to fade. He's just got to hit his marks and bring it home from this point.
Yeah, I mean, you do want to win in this series, but second place is nothing to scoff at, especially early on in this series, because it does set you up in a pretty good position later on down the line when it comes down to crunch time and when you get to the start of the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think for Fair & Co. Racing, Devin Fair's got to be looking at that battle for the lead with a smile on his face. He's got to be watching the big boards, and he's got to be thrilled as we're coming off of turn 4. White flag in the air one more time around now from St. Louis.
Yeah, DeLello just got to hit his marks here. You can't mess up now. Although he's got a little breathing room to Mashburn, that doesn't mean this race is over until he has crossed that line where the checkered flag waving. To see Mashburn maybe losing a little bit of ground to the 22 of Patrick Smith.
Yeah, but for Zachary DeLello, this has been a long time coming. He spent 3 years in the Nitro National Series honing his craft. He won a championship there, but I think this today is going to rival even that celebration. Roll out the red carpet because Zachary DeLello out of turn 4 for the final time. At long last, going to taste the sweet victory and the 1-Up Superstar Series first career win. Here comes at Gateway.
Well done, Zachary DeLello. Drove a fantastic race today. He's earned it.
Absolutely. This victory comes in what I believe will be his 32nd career start, and this is the one I think that he's been building towards. He had a strong rookie season last year. This is just... This could be a breakout year for him. I'm really confident about that now. Miles Mashburn, 2nd place for the 2nd week in a row, but that's still really good for him. Patrick Smith completes the podium. Ortiz and Kruger completes the top 5 after passing Ryan Griffin late. He comes home 6th. Still a strong run for him. Henry Thomas faded to 7th at the end. Fair, who's got to be thrilled to see his car in victory lane, even if he finishes 8th. Zayden Davidson 9th, and Julio Cesar completes the top 10. My goodness. This could be a breakout star in the making. We know Zachary DeLello is a good driver. He won a Nitro National Championship. I think this is going to be the first of many for him.
Yeah, and can't wait to see what those celebrations are like down in Victory Lane.
Absolutely, because it's gonna be big, I'm sure. And not only that, Zachary DeLello is now tied for the points lead with Miles Mashburn after 2 races. So very curious to see how his season's gonna go from this point onward. But with that being said, from Jacob Crago and from myself as well, thanks for joining us from the Worldwide Technology Raceway and Gateway. We'll see you again next week at Richmond Raceway, a 3/4-mile short track with a lot of challenges in its own right. We'll see you again then, but until we get to that point, so long from St. Louis. Congratulations to Zachary DeLello, 32 starts in the making. He's at long last a 1-Up Superstar Series winner.